So I ran into a little bit of a snag. The boat narrows from the back to the front. So I measured this backboard out. I cut it just to make it kind of lay down the bottom. There's a little bit of a gap just to keep the board off the bottom of the boat. And then when I came up here, slightly different size. So I cut this one down, or not this one, there's another one under there. I cut it down to fit as close to the bottom as I could there. I'm gonna come up here, I'm gonna cut this one down even shorter to make it fit, and it's even a bigger dip down here. So I got 2x4s there. I went to the Lowe's and got another 2x4 so I could try to do that. And I went ahead and grabbed my plywood. This is 1/2-inch plywood, and it'll be supported with the 2x4s, and that's why I didn't get such thick plywood. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so got a little bit more done. Under that carpet right there is my top piece. I covered it up, but you'll see it in a little bit. I just wanted to show y'all something. What I'm gonna do, I don't have any glue, carpet glue, because I'm cheap. We figured that out by now. So what I'm gonna do is what I did on the last one. It turned out pretty good so far. Is I'm gonna I flipped the carpet upside down. I'm gonna take the wood and I'm gonna flip that onto it and pull it as tight as I can, and I'm gonna tack down one side with these staples. I just got a cheap $15 staple gun over there, boss stitch, and so I pull it real tight, tack down one side, and I pick it up, I throw it on the horses on the other side, and I pull it super tight and tack down the other sides, and of course you cut the corners and whatnot. But just a little tip if y'all need to find out how to get it tight if you're by yourself. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, time for some serious catching up. So this is Mark again out here in Tennessee. Got my little aluminum boat and finally put some decking in it. Now I know what you're saying. You're looking at that front middle deck. You can see it's two pieces, kind of uneven. I don't want to hear it. My wife's stingy and she won't let me spend much money, so I couldn't buy another piece of wood. So I think I bought two pieces of 8 by, what was it, 8 by 4. So I bought 2 pieces of that, had it cut. This is 4 by 5 foot cut, so 4 inches long, 5 feet, or 4 feet wide, 5 feet wide, 4 feet long, 2 cuts. And I'm gonna tack those down. I got one 2x4 here in the middle. That's gonna attach those two, but really it just sits on the bottom. That's kind of how that goes. I didn't put a bunch of 2x4s in the bottom like some people do. Adds a bunch of weight, and if I can get this thing to sit flat in the bottom, that's what I'm gonna do, because it saves weight and less headache. So what I did up here is I attached these 2x4s. Those are just sitting there, the ones on top. Those are just sitting there, and they run all the way to the front. And the bottom here, I just drilled some little bits of 2x4 to make it sturdy down there on the edge here. So, I mean, this is super sturdy. This is 3/4 plywood. I actually went ahead and got the weather treated. And so like I said, I didn't have enough wood, but from some scrap wood, I was able to get this second part here. This piece here. I don't know how much y'all know about parabolas and whatnot, but to get that curve, I mean, you can do a bunch of measurements too, but if you know math, you might be able to figure that out too. But basically, you can just measure from here to here and just keep doing measurements all the way down, and eventually you'll get it. I have a little bit of a gap. It's not a big deal to me. Carpet's going to go around this wood anyway, so it's going to fill that gap at least a little bit. And then I was able to fill in this front. There's nothing, this is just below this. These 2x4s go in below that, and I put some more 2x4s under it to make it all level, and I cut this out. That was pretty tough too at the point. I cut that out and set that in there so I can throw some stuff in there, because the way it looked before, it was just painted and there was no wood, and I didn't really like that. I want the whole thing to be carpeted and wooded out, so make it look nice. And this here, I have to do this for my trolling motor, and I'll show you what I do for my trolling motor. Anyways, you can see how there's a lip right here, and so this is nice and flat. Those are my supports, obviously. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some scrap 1/2-inch plywood that I have, and I had it set up with like some what was that scrap wood I just had somewhere else. It was like little 1/2-inch pieces of crap. They weren't weatherproof or anything. I had them just stacked up. They were exposed wood, and I hated that. That was the way the boat looked before. But now I'm going to take some of that 1/2-inch plywood, I'm going to stack it on top of each other, make it nice and level like I did before, but this time I'm going to carpet over it, and then I'll put the trolling motor down, and basically it's just going to be flat, a little bit of bump, and that's where the trolling motor is going to go, nice and level. Then this is what I've just been doing. I wanted to put my battery down here, so I measured my battery, and I'm going to set it right in here. So this is my 2x4. I just have this sitting here, and this moves, but once I tack everything down, it won't move. But basically, I want a little lip for my hinges, and then what I'm gonna do over here is I'm just gonna tack it on. I'm not gonna set something across. I'm just gonna add a lip right here with a 2x4, and just have something for the door to sit on. Same thing with the other side. That's already there. That's the one that goes all the way across, and then I'm just going to add one on the other side so the hinge will sit right there. All right. So over here, this is my hatch for my battery. This is an old hinge I had from the other boat, or the other style. I just took it off. I mean, it looks like crap, but whatever. So you can probably pick this up at Lowe's for pretty cheap. I like these a lot. They swing out. It sits on top. I mean, they're super easy to do. You just tack them right on, put the hinge right in the middle of the gap. That's all you got to do. And that's my long piece there. And really, I mean, after you cut it out of the plywood, cut the square out of the plywood, you can go back and cut like 1/8 of an inch off, and it'll work, and it'll swing pretty easily. But what I did for that second piece, because I did that on this piece, for that second piece though, it was just barely touching in one little spot. And if you have a sander, I have an electric sander, vibrating sander, I just took my 80 grit that I already had on it, and I just knocked it off just a little bit, and I kept playing with it until it sat down nice and even. So that was pretty easy, so I won't have a huge gap, especially on that one. But that's it for now. I'm gonna put these hinges on here. I'm gonna start carpeting, and then maybe when I get to the trolling motor, I'll get the camera back out. I don't have a tripod or anything, or I would just sit here and let y'all see what I do the whole time, but I don't have one of those because I'm broke, just like the rest of you. All right, I'll be back in a minute. All right, now I've got a bit of the decking done. Didn't take too long. Did my little triangle piece up here. That's my little half piece. Sucks, but it's cheaper than buying another 8 foot of wood. And the triangle piece came out real nice with the carpet. And this is what I did with the top part for my trolling motor. I took 3 1/2 inch plywood, cheap stuff that I bought on accident one day. Anyways, took that, threw it right on top of my top deck part. My trolling motor is going to go right through here, and then I needed to get above this lip, so I added 3 of those. It's going to put me nice and level with the carpet and everything, and I'll be able to throw the trolling motor on there. That's a Minn Kota, I believe it's a 55 thrust. Pulls this boat pretty good. It's probably a little bit too strong, but I mean, who's to say you can't have a strong, fast boat? I mean, this is God's country. So anyways, I'm gonna carpet this. Just make sure when you go to carpet something like this, don't just measure the board. You have to include this, because you're gonna have to, you know, roll the carpet over the sides of the edges and whatnot. So give yourself a few inches on every side. That way you can go over both. That way you don't have 2 separate pieces of carpet or anything like that. So I'm gonna carpet this up real quick, throw the trolling motor on hopefully, and need to find some handles for my storage units here. So right now, old school, I'm gonna have to go up underneath and pick it up. But we'll get her done. I'll be back. Well, that's how it came out. Looks pretty good. Just like a little bump. Not the best carpeting job, but it's my first time, so. Well, I'm gonna head and get some touch-up paint for some spots where I scratched putting the wood in and out. And then I'm gonna come back, touch it up, try to put this trolling motor on it. I'll probably patch it up for the day. I have to get some more carpet for this last bit right here. And I'm gonna close that off with some plywood and should be done. Alright, there back. Well, she's done. Finally, I even took her out on the water already, but it went pretty well. Forgot to put the plug in, so don't do that. That was pretty stupid. I was too excited. Anyways, that's how she came out. I got my backless seat. That's pretty nice. You got low back problems. Real nice. Almost like standing up, but not. Really happy with how this came out. To show you how I actually, so I put the 2x4s down here to stabilize the whole thing, because just it sitting under this lip right here doesn't really keep it from falling over. So what I did, and this is your preference, but I drilled a couple screws in there. I need to paint that one, but I drilled a couple screws on the outside here into the 2x4s, and it pulled them to the boat, and it holds pretty dang strong, if you ask me. Anyway, that's good stuff. You gotta have your rope. I also got this Frabel, however you want to say it, crappie tracker, and have to be 10 inches out here in Tennessee. So gotta have that. Make sure you don't get stopped by the game warden. Finish this up. This is nice. One of my compartments got one of these. This is like a $6 little thing right here for your recessed storage puller-upper thing. That's nice. I got this from somebody else I saw on YouTube. I stapled my stuff, like my boater education license and whatnot. Went ahead and put that on the inside, so I always have it instead of keeping it in my wallet and losing my wallet or not bringing it or something. Then, easy enough, I already had these metal pieces in the boat. I just drilled this little crate that I had sitting around and labeled my stuff and just threw it in there. Happened to fit pretty well. Got you a lip, that way your storage top can sit. If you don't, it'll just hang. That should make pretty good sense. And you got my life vest and whatnot. A couple tools. You always have some tools on your boat. This I'm really happy with. I bought this for like 16 bucks. I got the bucket from the workplace. I just bought the lid. So pretty nice though. This one came with a net and the tubing and the aerator and all that fun stuff. Aerator, you just connect the tube into it and turn it on, some D batteries and good to go. Got my scissors and pliers. You can't beat that. Got my rod and reels. finally got this bad boy. It's got a little sleeve and everything, so that's really nice if you can get a sleeve and a cover for your reel. These are old, so I don't really care as much, but I still keep them in pretty good shape. I got an old seat from the old boat that'll be replaced with a camo seat eventually. This is my motor I just got not too long ago. I actually haven't ran it yet, but it's a Johnson, so it'll run good, I'm sure. I saw it run in a bucket, but whatever. These are really nice. I'm missing a piece from when I drove out here. It flew off. It was kind of falling off. But these are like $7 I got them at Academy Outdoor Sports. That's just what we have around here. Bass Pro's a little far away. Anyways, instead of ratcheting stuff down and getting that whole system that you can, it like goes up and down by itself. It's a ratcheting system. You just pull it up and you pull it down. That's like $30. Screw that. So that's like $7. And all you do is you pull it tight and flip your little clip, and that's it. Got your light for your transom. Alright. You can see that the floor is in 2 pieces because I didn't have a 8-foot piece of board that was 6 feet wide. I don't even know if you can buy them that way. I think they're 8x4 at the store. I'm happy with how this came out. So I did everything else in, what was that, 3/4 or inch, I can't remember. I got it on the video before. Everything 3/4 or an inch, but this front piece I wanted to close it off. And so what I did is I took a spare plywood, like 1/2 inch flimsy stuff. I set it on here and carpeted it, and that looks really nice. Gotta have a net. Got a bag full of random stuff. I have a problem with my battery. Somebody jimmy rigged that and now it won't come off. So instead of messing with it and cutting it and getting new stuff, I just I did me a little notch right there and I've set the battery in there and pulled it through, and that goes to your trolling motor foot pedal. Anyways, so I sat down there. Got a rope. Got some nice storage space under there. I even did a cup holder. I'm pretty proud of that. Got to have somewhere to keep your stuff when you're drinking. We got my fish pole holder. That's it. It came out really good though, I think. Nice and green. It's better than that blue, rusted white that I had before. So overall, super happy with it. If this motor doesn't run, that trolling motor runs like a scalded dog, I'll tell you what. So that's it. Hopefully I'll post some fishing videos one of these days and maybe teach y'all a little something. And yeah, thanks for watching.